welcome everybody to this Sendbird Zoom Fireside Chat. My name is Lee Cohen. I'm the head of sales for EMEA at Sendbird. And for those of you who aren't aware of Sendbird, we are the world's leading platform for helping you build rich chat functionality for your users into your applications. And we're focusing on bringing human connections into this ever more digital world. I'm super excited and have the pleasure to be joined by three senior figures in their respective organizations. We have Oz Gamiji, who's the Digital Customer Experience Manager at Virgin Mobile UAE, Per Stegenberg, CTO at Blockit, part of the Shipstead Group, and Hasib Raza, Product Manager at Careem, now part of Uber. So if we could just kick off, just going around the room and just get a bit of background from each of you and your roles and responsibilities in your respective organizations, that'd be great. And then we can get cracking into the content. Per, I guess over to you.
Thank you, and thank you for having me here. As you said, I'm the CTO of Blockit. I would say the #1 marketplace in Sweden. So we're based in Stockholm, Sweden. Me being this CTO means I'm leading our tech department that consists of around 90 engineers today. So that's short about me.
Great, Oz, over to you.
Hi everyone, this is Oz Gamiji from Virgin Mobile UAE, and we are based in Dubai. And Virgin Mobile is the first fully digital telecom operator in the UAE. And I work as a customer experience manager. I help the company build a digital customer experience and customer service model. And thanks for having me here today.
You're welcome. Great to be here. And Hasib, over to you.
Yeah, hi everyone. So this is Hasib Raza. I'm a product manager from Careem. And as Per mentioned, I would like to go on the same lines, the #1 super app of the region. So yeah.
Thanks, guys. Great to have you here. So onto our, I guess, the subject matter, which is, I guess, the headline of today's chat is how companies can thrive in an ever-changing market. And I think one thing's clear over the last 7 months, the whole world, as we were talking prior to this, has undergone immense change. And that has brought change for the organizations, the people working in them, our customers, the users of our customers. Pretty much everyone is involved in that change. And I guess with that comes a change of priorities and a whole change of thinking for each organization. And I suppose I'd like to kick off with a question around what's been the biggest change that you've seen over the last 7 months, given COVID-19, and how have you sort of adapted to that? Per, I'll start with you.
Okay, thanks. Well, it's been a fundamental change, of course. The 11th of March, we went home, as many others, of course. And overnight, we became a distributed company. So our way of working has changed overnight. And I'm super pleased how well it works. We've worked super hard to make sure that everybody is okay and feeling well. And I think that will become even more important now when we in Sweden are entering darker and colder times. And of course, it has also been a big change for our product. As I said, Blockit is a marketplace and just mostly known for being a marketplace where sellers and buyers are selling and buying secondhand things. And quite often that ends up in a physical meeting. And when the pandemic hit us, of course, we saw a drop. People was a bit scared to meet. But in Sweden, we never had the lockdown, as quite a lot of the rest of the world had. So we actually recovered quite soon. People are innovative, so they find new ways. They have digital ways to fix the payments. They leave stuff on the sidewalk for pickup. They are using our services for payments and shipping. So Blockit has actually had a quite good year, I would say. And it's sorry.
I was going to say, did you find that people did that automatically, or was there anything that you did as an organization to instigate that innovation of your users and their changes?
We did quite a lot around our shipping and payment solutions, but they were quite quick at the rest. I mean, leaving it on the sidewalk and using other digital payment services on top of that. But we focused quite a lot on payments and shipping, and also the chat, because quite a lot of the discussions that you probably have when you meet to take a look at the car or the sofa or whatever it is you're buying, that moved to the chat instead. So instead of meeting up and look at it, you talked on the chat instead and sent a lot of images and things like that. So the chat that we launched on Sendbird in April this year was fundamental for these kinds of services for Blocket.
That's good to hear. We'll
I guess.
Yeah, delve a little bit more into that as we go on. But thank you for that, Per. I guess moving over to Oz from your side in Virgin, slightly different industry and engagement with your users, but change no less prevalent in your space as well, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, we are born digital, right? We are a fully digital company, so the impact was kind of minimum for us. But the biggest change was, of course, like everybody else, we started working from home. So the human interaction has been reduced. So the first priority was the people, like make sure they are safe and well. And I also believe we were one of the first companies in the UAE having 100% of the contact center working safely from home. So we basically provide a fully digital customer service, and we use Sendbird Desk to assist customers, which runs in the cloud. So the customer care agents just picked up their laptops and started working from home the next day, so as if nothing changed. So for us, it was very easy. We just told them, go home and start working from home. So it was very smooth and easy for us. So the impact was minimum. And the guys were really enjoying it, working from home. And the CSAT scores were 100% during lockdown, which was amazing. So yeah, this is one of the small change, I would say. And another one, we of course, the way we work and communicate has changed. We started using online communication and collaboration tools more than before. And we also become more sensitive to customers. We try to understand their needs because as a telecom company, our job is to keep our customers connected, right? So we try to help them as much as possible. There were times we broke some rules and processes just to help them. And that's pretty much it. We focused more on customers and their needs during this time.
Did you see did that need change over over sort of the initial, as everyone started working from home, obviously not just in Virgin Mobile, but across your customer base? Did the nature of how people got in contact with you change at all?
Not really, because as I mentioned, we moved to digital a long time ago, almost 2 years ago. We closed the phone line, so our customers are used to contacting us through digital channels. So we use, as I mentioned, we use Sendbird Desk to assist customers. It's a multi-channel messaging platform. So no matter what the channel of preference is, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, in-app chat, web chat, customers can contact us and we can help them to the same platform. So they don't really call us, and they really enjoy the in-app chat service. It's digital, it's very engaging, and they are used to it. So basically nothing really changed from contact point of view.
Awesome. That's great news. Great to hear. Okay, and Hasib, how things been with an on-demand service for ride sharing? I imagine that took a big hit, but then on the other side you have food delivery, which you've got an interesting balance there. Interested to hear how things moved over the initial few months.
Yeah, I mean, it really did change for generally throughout the company, right? For the people working and for our customers as well. We went into the lockdown, so of course the mobility associated with people was a primary hit. which basically affected everyone, not just the customers, but the people who are working. We have like different sites through which we function from, based on Dubai, Pakistan, and Berlin. So we were used to collaborating remotely with teams to teams, but in general, to be able to provide a system for everyone to be able to collaborate in a much better way, that is something that we had to like shift our focus towards. And then in terms of understanding the situation, we wanted to make sure that we are still valuable to our customers, due to which we had to like change in terms of our strategy, focusing more towards enabling people to order more in terms of foods, in terms of grocery, making sure that we are able to help these people out just from the empathetical point of view as well, not just from the commercial perspective, right? So yeah, I think if these were like the two major changes, if I have to like sum it up for Kareem, yeah, and then the last 6 months, yeah.
Sure. So in terms of that, the change that you sort of experienced, what would you say was the biggest challenge that you had to sort of overcome in that period of whether it was immediate or whether it started to be prevalent after the initial change that you made? But what was the big hurdles that you had to overcome?
I mean, in general, we were seeing the changes around the globe, but I think it took over pretty quickly, right? The plans that we had in general through for the whole year, or how the Kareem was moving towards in terms of working towards mobility of people, ride sharing, as you've mentioned, we have to pivot away from that, and we had to do it quickly, right? Generally the mobility was almost near to zero because there's lockdown. People are not able to move, so but they have to be like keep on focused towards the basic needs, which is around food, around grocery. So we had to like understand, go back to the whiteboard, right, to understand in this situation how are we going to make sure that we still stay valuable to our customers, in parallel to making sure from the colleagues perspective, from the people who are working at the company, how to keep them engaged at the same time as well. So there are more than 1,000 people working at Kareem, so we want to make sure that they stay motivated as well. They stay engaged. They believe that we are trying to solve for a greater good. So we had to like instill that within Kareem, as well as making sure that we are still valuable to our customers. And that shift in general within a span of a couple of weeks, I would say, in the beginning was the biggest challenge to rewire our thought process and in the direction which we are moving towards. And that had to be instilled through top to bottom and bottom up as well, through each member of the team in general. So yeah, I think that has been like a major challenge. I believe that we've been able to overcome that. But yeah, we are still making sure, as we move out of this situation, we are able to stick to our goals, as well as making sure we keep the customers engaged as well.
Sure. Yeah, it seems that you've got a couple of elements there of keeping the people, as you say, engaged and feeling valuable, as well as your customers, making them feel being able to pivot to the needs and the changes of their requirements, which no means. Oz, does that resonate at all in your space?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, of course, during pandemic, business activities slowed down and we saw lower revenue. But I think the biggest challenge for us was migrating from physical office environment to a digital one, and the impacts behind that, specifically the communication, right? Before, we used to bump into each other in the office, talk about ideas, sit down together, but now we have to do it digitally. We need to send an email, send a message, set up a Teams call or whatever it is. So this actually reminds me the times when we first closed the phone line, and so our customers went from talking to us to sending messages. So they learned how they moved from traditional to digital. So we actually went through the same. We were talking to face, and now we are messaging each other, right? And now I know how customers feel, and I'm happy that we have done this digital transformation of care a long time before together with Sendbird. So we created new digital avenues for our customers, as I mentioned previously, opening up new digital channels like social channels, Snapchat, web chat, and more channels coming. So we have a channel agnostic platform. So this is really great. So yeah, I'm happy that we have this platform. So whatever the channel of preference of the customers is, we are there, we are showing presence, and in the future, whatever channel is coming, we'll be there. So yeah, this was the learning from my point of view.
Yeah, it's amazing when you suddenly realize what your customers go through when they try to engage to you and you're dealing with the same thing. I remember at the start trying to almost diarize, banter, a bit of, social kind of engagement in the office, just to kind of feel like we were there. And you realize it just doesn't work. You can't mandate this half an hour is when you engage, in a social aspect. It just doesn't work. You've got to let the new working processes take hold. But that's fascinating. And what about you, Per? What are the sort of challenges? Do they resonate? And any particular challenges and impacts on the business that you faced?
I mentioned a few before that we have tried to create helpful services to let our users do transactions and shipping safely. So that is, of course, a big part what we have done. We have also tried to use our platform to help out. So we have a partnership with the hotels to let them rent out unused rooms for people that need to isolate. We have used our platform for letting healthcare companies post ads for free. We have used the platform for people that want to help their neighbors. They can post ads for free and go shopping for an older neighbor or something. So we have spent quite a lot of time in thinking about how we, with our platform, can be a part of the solution also.
Awesome. I love those ideas. Yeah, quite innovative. Okay, well, you talked a little bit about the kind of enabling chat to bring what used to be a face-to-face meeting or just enabling that communication between, in your case, Per, the buyer and the seller. And Oz, you were talking about utilizing social channels and any ways possible to bring your customers into engagement. I guess if I just hold up that phrase of customer engagement, and just from your respective organizations, kind of what it means to you, and how your thinking about it might have changed in this sort of socially distanced world that we now find ourselves in. I'll start with maybe Hissi.
Yeah, sure. So it is about, in general, the engagement involves when, the customer actually feels the value, or we are able to share any value to the customer, right? Only then there's a need between the two parties, right? So we wanted to make sure that we are able to cater to that. And I think I mentioned that priorly as well, that it's just not about providing the service, but just making sure that, Kareem in general is there to support in whatever way possible. May that be due to the social welfare work that Kareem has gotten into raising funds, into providing, this Kareem supports so many households in terms of our captains, and how we make sure that, while the lockdown was there, and there were no rides, and how this was affecting the household that Kareem supports, to make sure that we keep on supporting these captains as well, and these households as well. So it doesn't like is limited just to the customer. It's about the cycle that you support in general, all the people who are associated with it. And this has been like an emotional journey as well. Like we had to be as human as possible through these times. um, so we had to like think from that perspective as well, not just from the commercial part of it. So yeah, so I think that's like part of the values of Kareem, and that something which instills over here. And you can say that this has been like the primary focus to support in whatever way possible, and that has been like a real help in terms of engaging and staying relevant as well for the people that we support, may that be customers or the households that we support or the colleagues that we have internally as well. Um, so yeah.
I love that human element. We're trying to be human. I guess that resonates with our approach as well. But in terms of um, the plans and what you sort of put into to enable that and move it along, is there anything specific that you've done as an organization to kind of increase that human element?
Yeah, so we've made sure that we stay active with our campaigns which we run. Our on ground teams are we had to like reiterate on how we understand the pain points of the people which are associated with Kareem, not just within Kareem, even outside Kareem as well. So we had to like focus more on that part. And I think one thing which definitely needs to be mentioned is that through this time, I believe, since Kareem operates with more interaction within people, right? If you like take a ride or if you ordering food, let's say, there's a human contact and human interaction which is required in between. So we had to make sure that safety is there. So that is one of the areas which we really focused on to make sure that people who are engaged with activities within Kareem, may that be customer or even the colleagues, they are safe. So we had to like ensure that. So we had to like come upon the SOPs around it. We had to instill that in the product that we have. We had to instill it in the operations that we have. We had to make sure that we are able to communicate this to our customers and our captains as well, that this is our highest priority. So this has been like one of the primary focuses and providing something that we've really worked on really hard through these times.
Got it. And how do you measure success in that, in terms of is it just sort of stability of transactions, or is there sort of surveys that you're doing? How do you know whether you're succeeding in that effort?
Yeah, so it varies like at which end of the party are the interaction is happening with, right? It is directly associated with our transactions, of course, but in general the satisfaction or generally the ratings or the calls that we get to receive, or how the interaction is happening between our customers and the captains as well, how satisfied are they. So there are different metrics to it, definitely. So and that's how we are measuring success around it.
Got it. Thank you. Oz, over to you. From a customer engagement side of things, how does that resonate in terms of, as your thinking around customer engagement changed over the past 7 months, and what are the plans that you sort of have or thinking about putting in place in terms of that change of mindset?
Yeah, so in a social distance world, engaging with customers is engaging with the audience is very important, and engaging with customers has always been a priority for us. So during the pandemic, we communicated and engaged with our customers on a regular basis. We changed our comms and talked about staying safe and healthy, and we ran online campaigns, sent some surprise and delight emails. We gave them tips. We even shared a lockdown Spotify playlist with our customers. So stuff like this, and then we told them they can do basically anything online and through the app, and they can get their SIM delivered wherever they are. And also we started providing 24/7 in-app chat support, thanks to Sendbird. and we provided free internet calling plans to customers so they can connect with their loved ones wherever they are in the world. We extended SIM delivery hours. We started delivering SIMs to the areas where we never delivered before. There were customers who got stuck in other countries and they were not able to update their IDs. So we broke some rules and helped them updating their IDs. We provided schools website at zero-rated mobile data charge. So we also used Sendbird's proactive in-app chat feature to contact customers just to check on them if they are okay, if they need anything, not as a marketing activity, but rather a care activity. So it was all about like humanizing the interaction with customers, showing them that we are always there to help, we care, just let us know if there's anything we can help. And yeah, that's it.
Got it. I mean, you say that's a fair long list there. Well done on those initiatives. The side of things that Per, you mentioned around obviously chat driving a lot of the engagement and responding to that at the start of this conversation. I guess the same as what I was mentioning to Hasib around measures of success and how your reaction to the need for communication and sort of bringing people together, whether that's kind of, whether you feel that that's worked or how you've measured that's worked throughout this process.
I mean, how to measure it? That we have stayed relevant is, of course, the big okay from our customers and users that they have liked what we have done. So we still have a lot of users. People are selling stuff. People are buying stuff on Blocket, and so that's a proof that it has worked. And as you said, I mean, the chat has become even more central now than before, and I think that's because a lot of the discussions around the things that's being sold on Blocket has moved from the physical meeting to the chat. You're sending images, you're asking a lot of questions, have a lot more discussions, and we have also used that fact. So we are trying to integrate the different services that can make the transaction easier in the chat. For example, the payment solution and the shipping solution. So it can all start from the chat instead of the app, for example. So the chat has been really center for us here.
Great to hear. So as you look forward in terms of how you've had to evolve over the past few months and the challenges you've had to overcome, which we've discussed, what's next? What are the sort of 3 focus areas that you want to sort of double down on, or you're looking at double downing on, and why really? It's
Yeah. Okay. One of them is to continue the work with shipping and payment. We're not done, and this is not only connected to the pandemic. I mean, our strategy is to make the transaction as easy as possible, and payment and shipping is super important. Another big focus area for us is our rental service for real estate that we have, which is also an example of where we can add services that makes the life as a landlord or someone that rents a place, that makes their life easier and more safe and more secure. That's another focus area for us. Now we have a lot of other stuff, but probably this is all I can tell you.
all right. No, appreciate that. That's great. I guess I'll move over to Hasib. What are your kind of areas of that you're doubling down on over the next few months?
Yeah, of course. I believe we want to become and improve on becoming, providing all the services and being the one-stop super app for the region, and which covers just not from the food and the mobility side, but also from the payments area as well. Like there's just one app through which you can make your payment from. So that's one of the areas that we are, doubling down on. And of course, secondly, with the nature of the environment that we are living in, we want to provide, better value for the customers from the mobility perspective as well, both from the security and safety side, as well as the quality of the service side as well. You mentioned that, like early on in the conversation, that we were really early into the food delivery on demand business, as we were hit by pandemic. Yeah, that of course that was a challenge, but yeah, I think it helped us to gear up for it, and shift our focus towards providing more value to the customers, both on food and grocery side as well. So yeah, primarily I think if I have to like sum it up, these two have been like a primary focus, and which we look to work forward and work towards going down the lane.
Got it. Okay. And Oz, from your side.
Yeah, for us, I think the first thing is definitely accelerating innovation. Yes, we are digital, but how can we even be more digital? How can we take mobile services to the next level? So accelerating our roadmap to help meet our customers' need. So the sooner we fulfill customer needs, the better it is, I think. And of course, the second one is customer experience. I believe the customer behavior will change and they will have new needs. And we have to make sure that we meet the new needs of customers and show them empathy and care, kind of keep a real-time pulse on changing preferences of customers, and quickly innovate to redesign those customer journeys, and of course migrate customers to digital channels more than before to boost satisfaction. And I think lastly, it's operational excellence, like looking at the future of work, remote working permanently, like digital upskilling, reviewing the contingency plan, streamlining backend systems and processes with a digital focus, I believe.
Got it. And so with the decision to double down on certain initiatives, or there's a whole prioritization piece that goes on there, and with putting some things that you're going to do comes some things that you're not going to do, because we obviously can't do everything. So I'm interested in the process of prioritization that you go through. What sort of makes the cut, what gets left on the cutting room floor, and of those, what have been the initiatives, if you're able to share, that you've had to let go of that were previously kind of got the green light?
Yeah, to be honest, there is nothing like big we stopped doing, because as I mentioned, we are already we have a digital operating model, and we just keep doing what we are doing, but with a maybe accelerated speed, right? So we just focus more on customer needs and prioritize them on the roadmap. So we are the leading telco industry with a NPS score of 53, and we managed to keep it stable during the pandemic. So I think this is a clear sign that we did well during the pandemic in terms of meeting customer expectations. But of course, we prioritize our roadmap, kind of focus more on customer experience rather than acquisition. So it's definitely focusing on more like innovation, more digital initiatives, and customer experience.
Got it. Okay. And Per, over to you in terms of that prioritization, or what you had to let go of.
I mean, prioritization is of course an interesting topic, and we always have a lot more things we want to do than we have time for. So being good at that is crucial. Of course, the pandemic changed a bit how we prioritized, and we focused a lot more on making the transaction easier, focus on shipping and stuff like that. But things that we try to do less of, I would say, I as a CTO, for me, it's important that my engineers are spending their time on things that create value for Blocket and for our users. So one example is moving to the cloud. I don't want to spend our engineers' time in inventing things that the cloud services has already invented. We moved away from the chat solution that we have implemented ourselves to Sendbird. It's another example. So instead, we can focus on the core features on Blocket for our customers. So we have tried to stop doing things that we can get from partners or that we can buy instead. So that's been important for us.
Got it. Okay, now that makes sense. Hasib, is that does that resonate with you in terms of engineers spending time on things that return value? I guess there's a definition of what value means, but yeah, how's that sit with you?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, exactly on that point, the definition of value changes, right? And as with our strategy change, those values change as well. So we wanted our customers or generally everyone involved at Kareem to be more safe. And that had an impact on our initiative, which we had planned initially. I think one of those, as you mentioned earlier, was around ride sharing, which we've been working for inside out for quite a while, in terms of we had launched some pilots and some initial cities as well. So we had to let go of that because you know again, safety was the highest priority, and that was the value where we were seeing. So that was one of the hardest calls that Mudassir had to take and the leadership had to take. So yeah, just if I have to like state one, I think that would be all. But yeah, they will definitely the prioritization exercises of course around how to make sure what exactly is the value is for the customers currently, and how we can go about that. So anything around which was not falling in that category, we had to let go of. But primarily, I think if we have to like talk about one single initiative, that was ride sharing.
Got it. Okay. And in terms of as our roadmaps change and we make decisions on how value changes and make prioritization on the back of that, how do you look at being agile to manage the customer expectations? We're moving, as Per said, moving from an internal solution, having engineers working on something that may not be core to the product, and moving to outsourcing, I guess is one view. But I'm just kind of interested in the key elements that you would look at when trying to maintain that agility and in the face of change and need for quick change.
Yeah, I mean, I think one example is moving away from initially, even at Kareem, we were looking for our internet solution for the chat as well. But we wanted to have some reliability on that part. So that's like one of the areas that we did not want to disappoint the customers which were involved with Kareem in any format or transactions. Due to which we chose to go with third-party service, Sendbird. So that's like one of the major areas that we wanted to focus on when it come to pivoting away, making sure that we are able to provide the right services and with the quality of the services. We do not, in this time, we do not want to break away in any format in terms of communication, in terms of services. So yeah. That has been like our if I had to like sum it up, it was around the reliability that we want to make sure along with safety.
Got it. Reliability and safety. And so I'll pass the same question around the table. Oz, from your side, what thoughts around maintaining agility, outsourcing, insourcing, that side of things? How does
Yeah, I mean, we, as mentioned earlier, we are a fully digital and agile business. We apply the agile methodology. We run sprints every 2 weeks. We are born digital as an app. And of course, the customer experience is the biggest differentiator for us. And I always believe that companies should focus on their own core competencies. Like, it's not our job to build a chat API, right? Just let the experts do it and focus on core competencies. So this is the reason why we started working with Sendbird almost 2 years ago. And Sendbird is like an extension of our tech team. We have our own roadmap, our own list of requirements we deliver, like monthly, which is really great. So, I mean, and also during COVID, Sendbird team was very helpful and responsive. We had some requirements, and they quickly address all our needs, answer our questions very quickly. So a partner which you can rely on is very important. And also it should be like a DNA match, right? We are a startup, we are digital, we are agile, same as Sendbird. So we are working very closely, and like I believe we are doing a great job. So yeah, so we use Sendbird's chat API and multi-channel messaging platform, which allow us to provide 100% digital customer service. And we are very happy with it. The business is very happy with it. The results are great. And yeah, Sendbird has been a great partner, which we can rely on all the time.
Well, thank you very much. That's I've asked for a nicer response. But so what I'm getting from that is, well, as he said, reliability, safety, and as you've mentioned, agility, a partner you can rely on, DNA match. How does that resonate with you, Per? Is there anything you sort of add to that in terms of how you look to maintain that agility?
Totally agree with what has been said before. Maybe I would like to add being data driven and super focused in keeping track on and monitor your systems, both from a technical perspective to make sure that that they work, and also from a usage perspective, of course, to make sure that we know how the user like what we deliver.
Oh, you've frozen there. Don't know whether that's me or no, we've got a freeze from Per. Okay, well, that's super interesting, and thank you for that. One thing I should have mentioned to those watching, feel free to send some questions in. We can we certainly can cover those right at the end. But one final question I'll ask, which sort of blends into a previous one, but I'll go with it. It was just what does the headline roadmap look like over the 6 to 9 months? Just sort of interested to see where your sort of future look is. We've talked about here and now, the changes over the past, what you're sort of doubling down on right now. What does the future look like in terms of your respective organizations or tech stack? I'll continue with Per for the moment, and then we'll go around.
Okay, thanks. Now the next time for us will be quite a lot of the things I've mentioned before around building more helpful product for our users and helping out in the transaction and make it more safe, more secure, and faster, of course. So we will probably work a lot with payment shipping. We will work a lot with personalization and trust features on Blocket. When it comes to trust, I think it's also interesting to talk about trust connected to the chat, because we are focusing quite a lot on moderation and making sure that we see if we can find fraud, for example, and we're working hard on making sure that we find spam and things like that. So moderation and spam control for the chat will be super important going forward as well, to make sure that everyone feels secure doing business on Blocket.
Got it. Makes complete sense. Thanks, Per. Oz, over to you. What's your sort of future roadmap look like?
So I think roadmap is a living document, right? So we have a very agile roadmap, and it changed along the way depending on customers' needs and requirements, and so this change is inevitable. So we started even looking at the roadmap and changing it more frequently than before. So we basically look at what customers are saying and then turn them into stories and then improve the product and the service. So we are kind of looking forward to launching new digital products and services, of course, and accelerate innovation and focus more on customer experience than before. But I can maybe give you two examples that we are working together with Sendbird team. One of them is we call it video verification. So during COVID, we saw that customers need SIM cards and activate the SIM cards, and we are sending them drivers, right? So they don't need to go to a physical store. This is our digital SIM delivery business model. So you can request a SIM card through there. So now we are planning to take it to the next level, which you can actually download the app, and through a video verification, we can get you verified, and then you can install a profile and like a eSIM, not a physical SIM, and start using your SIM plan like in half an hour. So basically, you don't need anyone. Just from the comfort of your sofa, you can activate a SIM. So this is next level SIM activation for us, and we are planning to do the video verification through Sendbird Desk and add video as a new channel. I know you guys have new video and audio APIs, so we are more than happy to use them. Whatever new technology innovations, we'll probably use it. So this is one of the use cases, and the other one is again another channel, WhatsApp. WhatsApp is very popular in the UAE. Basically, everyone is using WhatsApp here. So we are thinking about new use cases such as customers acquisition, self-service, and we are planning to add WhatsApp as a new channel in Sendbird Desk among the other channels and improve the existing channels. So yeah, these are the two things I can give you as an example on our roadmap.
Exciting stuff. Sounds super useful. And Hasib, what about from Kareem's side?
Yeah, I mean, just to take it forward, what was mentioned, I think one thing that we've learned in the last 6 months is, whatever we plan, there's always a possibility to change, and not just to change in a small amount or an angle. It may pivot completely and shift the focus. So I think that's one of the learnings that we have, in past 6 to 8 months. So we want to build on that. I think in terms of the roadmap items, we want to make sure that we are able to, have, more fruitful information to be shared between our customers, our care, our captain. So I think chat is a very important aspect of it, of how these customers and captains and care can communicate with each other in terms of maybe sharing images or sharing live locations, or being able to suggest them their next steps or their next messages, for example. So this is something that we are looking at in terms of our roadmap. There are definitely other initiatives as well, but yeah, the main goal is to and the vision that we have is to improve the lives of the people, and how we are doing it is by becoming a super app, so that we are able to help the people with their daily routine and their daily tasks. So in whatever way possible, we'll continue to focus on that as Kareem. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Well, I think we'll pause on the discussion for the moment and just see if there's any questions. I know Jessica, you're sitting here. I don't know whether any questions have come in. So we'll just pause for a second and see whether there's anything there. Okay, so let's just see what we have. Okay. Okay, we've got one question here from Dominique Hicks. Question: What challenges were there when implementing Sendbird? So it's an interesting one, but I mean, there's always challenges, and in many cases, well, in all cases, they're pretty much overcome. But I guess keen to get your respective views on that. So who wants to jump in on that one?
I can answer it from my experience. To be honest, we didn't really have any big challenges, because it's just SDK integration, and it took like 2 seconds for us, pretty much 4 weeks, and it was pretty straightforward. Documents were very explanatory, but The only challenge we had is the regulatory in UAE, because Sendbird runs in the public cloud. And as per UAE laws, we are not allowed to host any customer information in the public cloud. So it was very challenging, like a lot of meetings and discussions with the security team. And then we decided to use a unique identifier and not use any customer personal information. And then we overcome that challenge. But in terms of integration and implementation point of view, it was pretty straightforward. We didn't face any challenges.
Glad to hear. Anything from there, Steve, from your side?
Yeah, it was pretty straightforward for us as well. Our biggest challenges was to probably not connect it directly to Sendbird, but to the fact that we had a chat before. So we spent a lot of time moving a lot of history from our old solution to Sendbird to make sure that it was like as seamless as possible for our users. So that was a challenge for us. And also we have had some problems early after launching Sendbird regarding fraud messages and spam. And I think that's partly connected to that people see that we have a new chat, and then they try to see how they can profit from it in a bad way. So we've been working really, really hard to make sure that we get that under control, and that we have succeeded with now. So.
Right.
But integrating it was pretty straightforward.
Some of these things like fraud, you only know when you can predict as much as you like, and then you're thrown this challenge, and then it's sort of all hands on to how you can manage it. So very pleased that we were able to overcome that hurdle. It was quite an interesting one for sure. Certainly to see the ingenuity of some people to try and use any means possible to for nefarious means. So
that's something that is continuous work. I mean, you're never done. Then they find another way. So
indeed. And from Hasib, from your side.
Yeah, I mean, something along the same line. I think in terms of integration, it has been pretty straightforward. The documentation, the support which was available has been really great, on point. There were no challenges on that part. I mean, I think the only challenge was like around finding regularities, because Kareem operates in different regions, and we had to like make sure that we are aligned on that part. And that's something which has to do more with Kareem, right? How we operate in different regions with different regulations. So we had to like make sure that we are aligned on that part. So that possibly was one of the areas that did take some time, but else I think in terms of the integration or engineering perspective, I think it was pretty straightforward. It was a really smooth process, I would say.
Great to hear. Okay, well, we're just about to come up on the hour, so I think we'll probably call it a wrap. And listen, Oscar, Hasib, Per, thoroughly appreciate you. I've just seen it. Okay, we've got a question. We'll take that offline. But no, thoroughly appreciate your time, and really great insight today. Really love working with all of you, and yeah, thanks very much again.